I have a friend who I met at a bookstore. They worked at a bookstore, and then we became close friends because we went to not one but two book clubs together. And in fact, this friend was the one who really ran both book clubs. They brought all the background knowledge and, kind of hosted the conversation. This friend is even like a librarian now. They have a degree in library sciences. They're the biggest Shakespeare expert that I know. If ever there is a book that I'm like, I want to talk to someone about this, or even if they haven't read it, this friend will know what I'm talking about. And they'll probably know someone who has read this book, because everyone in their life is, well, not everyone, but because most of the people in their life are other booksellers and other librarians. This is my book friend. And the other day, this friend looked at me and said, "The amount you read frightens me." Now I've heard that from other people before. Usually people who aren't big readers or don't have time to read, and they're just like blown away by people who really make time to read. But to hear this from that friend, and for it to just be about how much I read, and not even to be about the number of books I acquire, which is always more than the amount of books I can read. It really hit home. And that was followed by, for various other reasons, I sat down and counted all of the unread books I have in my possession in this house. And I put them all in a big Excel spreadsheet. And the total is around 370 books. Now, a few years ago, we painted a lot of the bookshelves in the house white. And when we did that, I sat down and counted. I cleaned out a lot of books, and then I counted all the ones that were left. And that was just over like 1,200 books, which sounds like a lot, but that included a lot of like childhood books, a lot of, the little thin picture books. So I wasn't that surprised by 1,200. I feel like more people, if they actually sat down to count the books, including cookbooks too, like though every book in the house, you'd find you have a lot. But when it came to the unread books, that number really, it didn't even put things in perspective. It just kind of opened my eyes to what it actually is. Because these are all of my unread books behind me. At least that's what I tell myself. In reality, it's all of these, a shelf over there, a shelf over there, 2 shelves downstairs, a few in my bedroom shelves, and then I also do this thing where like I like take books from up here and I like bring them down into my room, and I kind of like hoard them there, and then my mom gets annoyed at the number of books on the floor, so she has kept buying me these baskets, just big baskets, cute baskets that you could just put all your books in. So now I just have a lot of baskets of books, which also kind of like disguises how many books are in there. And it's over 350 books. The first question, I'm sure for everyone, is just like, how? Like, how does one do that? How does one afford that? And the simple answer is I live with my parents. So rent is really affordable, and I have a lot of disposable income. Not a lot. I work for a nonprofit. And so I don't buy anything else. I don't really enjoy going clothes shopping anymore. All the fast fashion, like I really only buy out of necessity. And bookstores are such like a friendly, wonderful place to be. Like, if you had an option between like wandering around the grocery store or a loud bar or a quiet, nice, lovely bookstore with nice music and a little coffee or something in your hand, like this whole collection of 350 books, like it probably goes back even to high school, if I'm being honest. I think I can pick out 1 or 2 books at least that definitely have been in my possession unread since high school. Oh yeah, I can pick out one That one right there. That was a gift from my high school English teacher. Because I was just such a nerd that all the teachers were my friends. And that's the other part. I haven't had a lot of local friends. Growing up, I really didn't have a lot of friends, at least that would hang out with me outside of school. In college, everyone would go off for the summer, so I'd come home and all I would do is read all summer. It was amazing. And then we had COVID and all of that. I did grad school in England, came back, still didn't have like a lot of local friends. Now I do, and it's wonderful. But for a long time, I just like didn't go out. And I don't drink, so like I don't spend a lot of money on, cocktails and things. Going out to eat is expensive, but I don't do it very often. I don't like order in lunch. I don't order, it's just, this is all I want. And this is all I really have as a vice. And it's so easy to justify buying books. It's so easy to just say like, especially if you're in a local bookstore, you can just say, well, I'm supporting the local economy. I'm supporting an independent small business. Like, you can feel good about that as you walk out with like a stack of 10 more books, especially when they have a sale. That's my real weakness, is when there's a book sale or thrift books. This is an online used book website that's not Amazon. Thrift books has been a real problem for me lately, and it's just such good deals, and they'll give you free books. Yes, it is like a cycle, kind of a scam, because they're like, you still have to pay for shipping for the free book, and while you're looking for the free book, you see all these other books that aren't within the price range of your free book, so then you just buy more books, but then those more books lead to more free books, but it's still free books. And really, anytime I buy a book, deal or not, that's not from Amazon, I feel good about it. It feels like a win because it's not from Amazon. Amazon has done a lot of shady things, but the things they have done in the world of books, it's just the worst, okay? They just scam the system, they scam publishers, they scam authors, they scam readers. I could go into in-depth about all the terrible things Amazon has done. But at the end of the day, everyone knows that they're bad. You don't need me to tell you Amazon is bad. So that's the big how, is I've ended up with a really nice situation where I don't have to spend a ton of, although probably even if I was spending a lot of money on rent, it would still look like this. I would just be more dedicated to those book deals and sales and thrift books, if we're being honest. This collection has been growing since high school, yes, but really since 2021. Since 2021, I bought a lot of books in 2021 while I was living abroad. In 22, I acquired a lot. 23 was when I first learned. 2023 was when Barnes & Noble really started doing the pre-order sales. So you get 25% off when you pre-order a book, and that has really caused me problems. And then 24, I had one goal for the whole year, which was to read more than I buy. And that I stopped caring about that in November. And here we are now, in 2025, when I finally sat down to count them and realized I am in trouble. Now I can hear you through the screen. I can hear you saying, just stop. Just stop buying books. A lot of people online do like book buying bans where like they don't let themselves buy any books, and they're great at self-control. And I am not. I have tried book buying bans so many times, and I've tried so many different like weird niche methods of them. I've tried just blank cold turkey, no more books. And in that period, I bought more books than I ever have in like that amount of time before. I tried, there was one method where it was like, you can still buy books, but you can't buy them from a store where you still haven't read the last books you bought from that store. And that didn't work at all. Just didn't work. The minute I saw a sale, I'd be like, well, can't miss out on this deal. And so I've tried to like satisfy the retail therapy I get from buying books with buying other things or like having a reward system set up. So one of the things I did was build myself this whole point system where for like reading books you'd get points, but for buying books you'd lose twice as many points. And when I got so many points, I would go and buy a bead for my Pandora bracelet. And in the end, I've loved this Pandora bracelet journey because you follow all the beads and it tells the story of the last few years for me. Every time, each bead represents about 50 to probably 70 books that I've read. And each bead represents whatever book or books in that time had really stuck out to me. So the first one, you have this awesome Chinese lion, and that represents Chloe Gong's Romeo and Juliet retelling, These Violent Delights, which was set in 1920 Shanghai. And that one really meant a lot to me, both because it just really re-sparked my love of Shakespeare and romance, but also I had tried reading this book a while ago and it just didn't fit. And so when I tried again, I was just like really proud of myself of how far I've come as a reader, to be open to fantasy and sci-fi, to be open to all these different things. Plus, it's just a gorgeous charm. Next, we have a kind of watery one that represents Percy Jackson. Was huge into Percy Jackson. I still am, but that was like my OG Percy Jackson read, Heroes of Olympus, all of it. Then we have just like this glittery bead that represented a book that was like a retelling of Treasure Island. But it took me so long to get through this book. And this is another point that I'll get to later about how I can't let books go. I have to read them, I have to finish them, and I just really want to keep them. But that one just represents that one and putting in the hard work to keep reading, because it felt really great when I finished that book. The lock represents both Lockwood & Co. and Six of Crows, because Kaz Breckers obviously picks a lot of locks. The heart, I just finished a fluffy romance, and I was just so full of like self-love and just wanted to remind myself to enjoy the fluffy, happy things in life and focus on self-care and self-love. And then we end with Dog Mom, because I just got a dog. Everyone keeps telling me to like put her in vlogs and like make videos about her and like they'll go viral and stuff. But honestly, I don't know. I feel like an overprotective parent. Like, no, she's not just for views and likes. She's my child. But it also suits the reading, not just because we read together, but I finished an advanced copy of Ladies in Hating, which is so good. But in the book, there's a little dog named Bacon, who the description is actually incredibly close to what my little mixed breed rescue looks like. And this has been confirmed by the author herself. And the author is Alexandra Vasti, who I love on Instagram and just messaged just out of the blue to say, hi, my dog looks like Bacon. And she completely agreed. So there you go. So it was very appropriate. And now I just have this wonderful story that follows the last few years. But despite enjoying that, it really didn't stop me from buying books. It obviously wasn't like the same kind of retail therapy. And it's not just like the actual act of buying books. It's I look at them online. It's that wonderful time in a nice, peaceful bookstore amongst other book lovers. It's just buying books is so embedded into my personality that it's so hard to stop. Plus, retail therapy is usually often like in response to anxiety or depression or, things, troublesome times, which we've had a lot of in recent years since 2020. And so when I get a little panicky, I just itch for like the peace and calm of the bookstore, or just to like scroll through, not the news, but just pretty book covers and like disappear into little fantasies. And nothing replaces that retail therapy. Nothing replaces that little zing you get when you buy a book, or even just find a new book that you want to read. That being said, I am continuing with my point system, though this time instead of points, I've created little punch cards. I saw someone else do this. I just thought they were cute, and I love arts and crafts. So I made myself a bunch of punch cards. So every time I read a book that fits the prompt on the card, romance books, nonfiction books, whatever, I punch a little hole in them. And once I fill out my punch cards, then I think about 5 punch cards, because that'll be 5 or 10 punch cards. Do I challenge myself? I think 10 punch cards. So that'll be 50 books. And then I'll go buy a bead for a new bracelet that I got, because this one's kind of full. And it feels like a completed story, this one. This is not a paid advertisement for Pandora, by the way. This is just my own natural enthusiasm. I honestly always thought these were dorky and lame. But that's okay if I'm dorky and lame. On top of not really having a replacement for buying books and the retail therapy, I also really struggle to get rid of books and to not finish books. In getting rid of books, I can definitely let them go. I do a good clean out, maybe like twice a year. I love going to little free libraries and putting books there. But of course, when you go to little free libraries, you end up getting more books back. You take some out. But over the years, I've stopped, and I've had moments where I'm like, ooh, I want to read this book. I have that book. I had that book. I got rid of that book, and I'm devastated because, okay, younger Nicole, maybe you didn't want to read The Letters of Van Gogh when you were in high school or middle school. I actually think I got that book when I was like 15. But now you definitely want to read that. You definitely, that's definitely an interest, and you would read that cover to cover now. Do I buy it again? Do I get a used copy? The other problem has been that my town, I'm from a very small town, and we have a very small library. It's pretty much 2 rooms. To like a floor and a half. And while we have an amazing interlibrary loan system, those can take a long time to get like up to 3 weeks for you to get a book from another library in the state and it to come to you. And it doesn't satisfy that itch, the retail therapy. So this year, well, in the last year, I got an out-of-town library for a big library like one town over. And I did that before I even knew that that library is in a consortium with a bunch of other libraries in the area, a lot of them even bigger than that one, where you can just walk in with that library card and just check out the book. You don't have to wait for the loans. You don't have to wait for it to come on the truck. You just walk in. I can just walk in to these massive libraries and take whatever I want. And I know that's just like how libraries work, but it's incredible. So that's made a big difference. And that's made a big difference with books where I'm like on the fence about them. For example, I just picked up one that I requested yesterday, like a newer book. It's like The Spirits of Thorn Hall or something. And the font, it is the smallest font I've ever seen. It's so tiny. I can't read that. So I'll just put it back, and maybe one day I'll find my way to the audiobook, but it has satisfied the itch. I don't need to buy the book. And libraries also have a great perk where they help me get past my difficulties in not finishing books. Because I so struggle to not finish a book, to just like, even if it's terrible, I can't just throw it aside. If I own it. If I have spent money on this book, even if I got it for free a lot of the times, I'm like, I have to finish this book. I just have to. I have to see it through to the end. If it's from the library, I've been much better about just being like, no, never mind. I'm good. So really, the library is the answer. I know that. But the library is also part of the problem, because I keep going to the library for all these new books when I have these at home. Because the problem is, I'm such a mood reader and such a like vibe reader. Like every now and then I'll just be struck by the urge to read a book set in Oxford or the Wild West. It's really hot out, so I want to read a book set at the beach. I'm going on a ski vacation. I want to read a book set at a ski hill. And I know I have these books, but in the moment I don't remember I have these books. Or it's been so long, I don't remember what the books are about, let alone where they're set, let alone, what happens, the minute details that are what I'm actually searching for. Like, is there a ghost in this book? And so this time I built the Excel spreadsheet to have a lot of those key words. So sometimes I really just want a forest setting, like set in the forest, the woods, deep woods, magical vibes. So I can just search for the word forest and a bunch of the books will come up and I'll be like, ah, yes, I have those. I can go read those right now. Because in the past, of course, I would say, oh, I'm in the mood for a book set in the forest or the woods. And then I'd go online, particularly YouTube or TikTok, and be like, hello, show me books set in the forest. And I would get like dozens of book recommendations for books I don't own and I haven't read and may or may not be at the library, but I need immediately because this is what I want to read right now. And this influencer, this book blogger, this person is telling me this fits right where I want to read. And all of this, and that giant number of unread books has all made me rethink my little vlog here. Ever since the election, like a lot of people, I've been rethinking, readdressing my relationship with social media because so much of it is not only negative out there, but so much of it, like just posting online, contributes to the extreme wealth of not just a few individuals, but a few individuals who are using that wealth to wield power and make everyone else's lives miserable. And on the one hand, on all hands, I really don't want to contribute to that. But on the other hand, or foot, or whatever, my metaphor's gone. And that's the whole point. This is all just nonsense. Like, why should I have to be considering world politics and tariffs and budgets when I just want to sit down and watch some cute videos about books to help me escape from the world of politics and tariffs for 5 minutes? But I've struggled to feel like this vlog and really any of my social has like a purpose. And so I've decided to make the purpose to use this even for nothing else, because I think all art and all things that you create have a purpose as long as they're for one person, even if that one person is you. And so this is going to be for me. I love all my friends and followers who catch up with me on here. I appreciate it. I love you so much. Your comments and the things you share just delight me to no end. But I'm going to use this to keep me reading, to keep me focused. We're going to try. So anytime I feel like I really want to buy books, I'm going to come and make a video just about whatever I'm reading at the moment. Because it's real and it's honest, and I like that. I'm also hoping that if I do end up in a bookstore, this has been one of my things with a vlog. I'm like, I don't want to just waste my life. I don't want to spend time filming while I'm out and about living. But maybe if I film a little while I'm in a bookstore, I will be distracted enough and kept busy so I don't buy a lot of things. Will it work? Probably not. If anybody else is this crazy, please feel free to let me know. If you know your to-be-read pile, like actual pile, not just list, the pile is well into the hundreds, I'd love to say hello. Otherwise,